What's up, you guys, and welcome to OccultcatTv. I'm your host, O'Shea, as well you can call me Atanu, for this is my magical name, and today we're getting into past life and reincarnation. Okay, so what is a past life? In a sense, for anybody that is new, first off, hey, what's up, you guys? My name's O'Shea. I've been going through a spiritual awakening now for about consciously 8 to 9 years. As well, I am a ceremonial magician, a shamanic witch, an occultist, and someone that, just walks the left hand path. So, and by that, I just mean that I'm someone that works with daemons. I'm someone that works with demons. And on top of that, I also work with Greek divinities and Egyptian divinities. I also work with the Hindu pantheon, or the Devas, the Divs, right? The Vedic pantheon. And all of these different, all these different cultures, all these different deities intertwined with these cultures, all of them span throughout these different lifetimes. All of them different realities, right? Egypt was nowhere near India. But at the same time, they had very similar values. They had very similar qualities. And yeah, the Greeks are the later, you could say, occultists, or the later day initiates of the mystery schools. And as them being later day initiates of the mystery schools in Egypt specifically, this is why they had such similar knowledge to even the fact that the god Thoth, Lord Thoth, Tehuti, was also known as Hermes Trismegistus for the Greek pantheon. That when we look at Hecate, right? Heka to the Egyptians, the personification of magic, Heka, also to the Greeks was Hecate, right? And it was a rebrand or a continuation of this gnosis. Now, they also had the gnosis that was already there, right? Like they understood Thoth, um, they understood Tehuti, right? And they learned about that. They learned about those beings and those sciences. But yet, we also have the evolutions that I just talked about. One of those evolutions being Hecate, Heka, right? And then Thoth and Hermes. So now these are two of my patrons, two of my guides, and as well my channel's even dedicated to Hecate. Shout out to you, goddess. Thank you truly for all that you've done, Hecate. Such a beautiful and amazing being, and I don't think I could say that enough, because truly she is someone, and got a video coming soon for her, you guys. Just stay tuned on that. She's someone that I love so much. Like, I don't even understand. Like, I work with so many different spirits, but if I was married to one, it would be Hecate. So, thank you, Goddess Hecate, for all that you do for us in guiding us in our ascension and helping us to become our greatest versions. And it's actually these two beings that, whenever I experienced past lives, they were the ones that were always, it seemed, initiating it. Because even back to the time when I first got a past life regression, right? Yeah, so I actually went to someone, right? I spent money on a service that someone was able to do. I was able to, just them as a person seemed very legit as a practice. How they spoke, which, okay, later on it was funny because I'm like correcting him on things. He's showing me like a lecture on something. And this was another session after the past life regression, but he's just showing me something on the lecture, and I'm like, oh well, didn't Rene Descartes say that in this way? And then he looked up the quote and he's like, oh wait, he did. So I was actually correcting him. He really valued that though, and that's what was really cool because I was actually helping him with this slide that he was actually going to show to a whole bunch of people. So I was helping him to correct it in that way. But before that, he gave me one of the, in a sense, he he does what I'm able to do now after a whole bunch of practice. Right as I was saying that, there's just a noise going. I don't even. That's loud. That's the first time I've heard that. Okay, so with practice, I've learned actually how to do a past life regression myself because now I just mix it with a form of astral projection, journeying, and then just having the will and the intention this that I did when I did my first past life regression. And truly, that's what meditation is at the end of the day. Once you passed quieting the mind, then it's more about, I guess you could say, well, where do I go? Well, what do I do? What do I understand? And if you're not someone that is like grounded and stable, I wouldn't recommend a past life regression at the moment. But if you are someone that is, you're continuing on the path and you feel that a past life regression is what's needed for you as a next step, I highly recommend that you do that. That you take someone up on that offer if you already see someone putting that service out there. As well, this is something that I'm able to do through astral projection and also journeying sessions, which, just letting you guys know, I don't always put it in the down below, but I do astral reiki, and then I also do journeying sessions for people. So I can help to induce you in that form of hypnosis, where then you'd go into a past life in some way. You'd say things, and then I'd also help you to, like, I'd say into a recorder, or I would type things down that you said while you were under that state, and then I would reiterate at the end what you said, and then it's kind of like a consultation after that, where then we would talk to each other about about the situation, about about what you understand from your past life regression. So, but continuing, once you have this ability, once you've done it a few times, you're kind of able to consciously do it. And it's just, again, having that will and having that intention. So this is how you view a past life. So what is a past life if we were to get into it? A past life is, in a sense, you've lived this life, but you've lived it many times before this one. Most likely. I know a few people that are actually freshly incarnated, like just first time, it's their first go pretty much. And for myself, I'm an old soul. I consider myself to be a very old soul, and that's why I even love to teach. I don't really consider myself a teacher per se, but I'm someone that is, expressing my experiences and what I've been through. And I guess if you were to say inadvertently, like, yeah, I'm teaching, but that's not my main. I'm mostly here just to um, talk about my experiences. So since you've lived this life, not just, probably most likely not, this isn't your first life. This means you have experiences from the past ones. So I want to say that this isn't the main focus of spirituality, or I don't really think it should be the main focus in general. But over time, that when you start to do the other things, you're going to, or when you start to, practice breath work and meditation and, ritual or spell work, channeling, you're naturally going to go more within yourself, and these things are going to be uncovered. So don't try to force it, but if it's there, then it's something that you can tap into and then bring forward to empower you, right? So you might have had a incarnation in Egypt, right? And that incarnation maybe is Atlantean. Maybe you were someone that was a Atlantean priest, right? So if you had this ability of oration, because from my understanding and gnosis is that Atlantean priests, that if say you shattered your arm, you just broke it, right? A priest could say a certain phrase or mantra, right, that he learned from the elders, from those energies, and then from that mantra, it would just put back together the arm, say if the person's arm was broken. So, and this was also because this is something I learned in sociology. My teacher talked about that it used to be more, the land was magical. Like when we look at older cultures such as Egypt, such as Ireland, right, Gaelic, as well as other cultures. These cultures believed in magic, and it's because they were so heavily, they had faith in their magic, they had faith in their words, they had faith in the path, right? In Egypt, the underworld was so closely linked to our time, or I'm so sorry, was so closely linked, Egypt and the underworld, that it was in their society, right? And as it was a part of their society, the underworld, they understood that death was not the end, right? What is it? What do they say? Energy can't be destroyed, but merely recreated, transmuted. These are the things that we learn from, as well, Egyptian magic and what the Egyptians left behind, right? Nothing's new, in a sense. Nothing's new under the sun. So, as all of this was left behind, as these universal laws, right? The law of frequency, the law of vibration, the all is mind and the universe is mental. Tahuti was able to carry this information from Atlantis, to Egypt, as well the Mayans and the Aztecs. And he came to the Mayans and the Aztecs as Quetzalcoatl, right? And as Quetzalcoatl, he then incarnated as Thoth, or his aspect of Thoth, to the Egyptians as he brought them magic. The way in which they did this was, we could say the Emerald Tablets, but then on top of that, it's a mind transference. It's a psychic transference of energy, right? As I was just talking about Thoth earlier, I was talking about Hecate earlier. This most, verify with your own intuition, with your own self, with your own energies. But this, to me, means that they're part of the video. That these energies wish to come forward and to empower anybody that is viewing this, right? To spark that torch, that flame within yourself of who you are, in remembrance of who you are. So most likely these beings also led you here in some way, or maybe another spirit or guide that I work with. I like this aspect of how we can merge realms with the energies, right? So I was someone that I didn't work with Hecate, I didn't work with Thoth, but then Thoth reached out to me. He started to channel through me. He started to do tarot card readings, through me, in a sense. I just started doing tarot, and he'd just pretty much show up, and then we'd do the reading. And this is where he was always guiding me to myself. And since I've been on the path of my true will, right, my fate, my destiny, I look at it that since I understand the path within myself, I know thyself, it is now my job to as well instill this flame within other people. That's why my channel, it's not just me, I'm your host, because it's OccultcatTv. Occult Cat telling you a vision. What is the vision? For me, it's, the vision of the the past, that is the future, that is the now. It's a vision of Egypt, of Atlantis, of these energies, right? That's why it's dedicated to Hecate, because she's shown me so much in life that I let her also guide this channel, because she's a guide of myself. But at the same time, I'm the one that is channeling it. If I don't put in the work, if I don't put in the effort, then the channel doesn't grow, and on top of that, I don't get my message out, or this message in general. Which, I guess, if I was to state a message, it would be to become your greatest version, grow and love yourself, do all the things that you need to do, be successful, be prosperous, be abundant, and embrace your greatest version. Become your daemon. Follow your true will. And that as you follow your true will, you're going to know your destiny. You're going to know who you are, and as well who you're meant to become. And that's actually the hero's journey, right? I'm someone that has been on my own journey. And through being on my own journey, I've learned a lot. And this is why I want to help you guys to understand anything that you might be going through. Because I assume that you were most likely led to my channel or you kept watching because, we felt the same. Yeah, in that way, right? Maybe you've had experiences yourself, past life experiences, occult experiences, shamanic experiences. Because in my life, I've had so many that I can't even attest for. Yeah, over time, it was relayed to me, and I started to understand who I was. I started to understand the path, and I understood the journey. And then, the one thing I've truly learned about the true will is that once you know who you are, now it's almost like your job or your duty to, you don't have to help others know who they are, but at least to teach what you know. And then from you expressing what you know, others will naturally just start to awaken what they know, right? Usually the people that help us the most aren't the ones always talking to us and giving us advice, but it's the ones that are more showing us how to do things instead of just talk, right? Because for myself, I learned from watching, as well. I learned from understanding, and as well doing on top of that. So when I can use my psychic sense, and then I can also watch YouTube videos, I can start to download the different things in which I need to know, and even this being one of them, right? Study a topic as much as you can, download it, and then evolve from it. So if you want to know past lives, learn as much as you can about them, learn how you can do it yourself, and then go within. You study so that you can know. You study so that you can understand. You understand so that you can know. This is pretty much how it was as well in the mystery schools back in Egypt. And I even look at my channel as I guess you could say, a form of mystery school, right? I make videos that talks about occult subjects and wisdom. And then on top of that, I also do my live streams that, I answer questions that honestly, it's kind of like if you asked an Egyptian priest, right? You ask questions of something that you're going through, and then I'm able to respond. Or I also do tarot card readings on my live streams. So the more that we go within ourselves, this is how we can tap into our past lives and then understand our connection to whoever we were, to the culture, right? And this is why I use the true will for the Egyptians, because when we can know thyself and be brought back into reminiscence of ourself and who we were in a past life, we now have these truths that we can not only share or say, but we can express through energy. And then it's about, through embracing the daemon, which also I have a video on, just letting you guys know that by also embracing the daemon, we understand what was before our incarnations. And then the daemon is what incarnated and most likely got, you could say, like lost, or chose to continue to evolve and grow and know more of itself. And then it got wrapped up in the cycle of reincarnation, right? But reincarnation didn't exist before you incarnated. So it's just like time, which I also have a video on. Time is an illusion. So reincarnation is also an illusion. So by dissolving yourself, right, dissolving your ego, which I also just made a video on, you can go within yourself to then understand who you were before incarnating. Once you've stepped into your daemon, you're able to actually step in more into your past lives and know who you are, because it's that thing, that person, that being, that deity that incarnated and then fell asleep into this game and this matrix to forget itself. And then as it forgot itself, that's what your trials, in a sense, are for. What you're in is a simulation. What you're experiencing are the games, right? The simulation, the video games, trials are merely what you're being tested with in order to grow yourself. Something Ganesh has taught me. You're not removing the obstacles. There are no obstacles. You're merely facing or walking the path, and things will get in the way of the path. But once you dissolve your ego, it's not like, oh, this is a challenge. It's more like, oh, I walk over this hill. I walk over this mountain, right? You go through it. And then you realize that, oh, there are no illusions. There's nothing stopping me. And that's something that Ganesh has shown me. Your trials to then wake you up so that you could become your greatest version. If you didn't have this shaking of the cage, right, then you wouldn't wake up, right? As they say, don't wake someone that's asleep, right? But that's what the universe does. When you choose to fall asleep and forget yourself, then there's going to be signs and synchronicities all around you to then show you who you are. And that's what your higher self is doing. It's orchestrating or orchestrated all of these situations and these moments to then shape you into the character that you needed to become to fulfill the narrative in which you're playing out, which we can call your fate or your destiny. So the more that you can understand who you are, this is how you can understand your past lives. As you start to understand your past lives, you're gaining skills and knowledge and remembrance of who you were in those lives. This is a part of reincarnation. That when you choose to reincarnate, as you've reincarnated into this being, you are the accumulation of all these past lives, kind of like the avatar. So this is your latest incarnation, which you go by the persona in which you are. Such as for me, it's O'Shea, or my daemon's name is Atanu, right? And as we have our later incarnation, the incarnation in which we are in right now, it's actually about using the skills in which we have and we've cultivated from these past lives, and actualizing them would just be to bring them to the forefront. It's not exactly that you know your past life, but you know more the archetype of what they embodied, you know what they did, so that you can look at all of them and then round it off in this life and then see what your karma is, right? By looking at your past lives, you can see your karma, you can see your challenges, that which needs to challenge you. You can also see, from that you can use the patterns of your life to see what you were in each life, to then understand what you were in this, what you are in this one. Which a good show, or a good show that represents this, is Avatar: The Last Airbender, right? Aang is an avatar, and he's lived, I think it's like 100 lives or something in that way, and then he needs to, or like 80/30, I don't know, and then he needs to go back and then recollect all of his lives, as he's also trying to understand bending, right? Bending being the wielding of different elements. And as he masters, actually, as he finds his past incarnations and who he was, he realizes that that's actually what was limiting him from understanding his abilities, right? And as he started to venture into these past lives, he started to understand, or he started to awaken, firebending, waterbending, all the different elements. But what was limiting him, something that I perceived, something I saw, was the fact that he didn't have those lives integrated yet. So we could even say that skills aren't exactly about knowing, but more downloading. So if you know a past life, you're able to download that past life, right? And then you would then just awaken it through yourself, that you are now having that skill, which I iterated, or which I said earlier. So that's, in a sense, past life and reincarnation. It's really about exploring your past lives, going into them, seeing who you were, or who you are, But most importantly, in this lifetime, it's about knowing thyself. So even the past lives are but an illusion. They are an aspect of something we can fully go into, we can study, we can excavate within ourselves using our psychic abilities or our astral projection. But it can be an endless void at times. We can also go into it a lot. But if you make it a part of your life and you just choose to venture there and just do it as another thing, there is much to gain from this. There's a lot to gain from your past lives, and integrating them into this one, which will also help you to, again, develop skills at a faster rate. And with that, you guys, I'm your host, O'Shea. As well, you can call me Atanu, for this is OccultcatTv. If you did like this video, if you like the subject that I was talking about, please do feel free to leave a like. If you've been enjoying the content, subscribing always helps with my videos. And with that, you guys, I hope you have a beautiful night. Namaste. You guys got this along your journey. Stay studying, stay meditating, stay elevating. Most importantly, stay hydrated. You guys, stay hydrated.